Welcome, everybody. My name is Bart, and I'm a human being. And as a fellow human being, I found myself in a place when I started to consume social media and screens more and more, like a snowball, you know. And I found myself in a place where when I felt like I'm escaping, I'm putting a lot of noise in my life, a lot of different kind of noise. And I've noticed that. No, I've noticed that there is very little silence, and I was started to just kind of reflect on that. Why? Why am I? Why is there so little silence in my life? It feels intentional. There is something in the silence that I'm afraid of. So, a few weeks ago, I decided that it's time to face it. It's time to take a break from all of the noise. And that was my initial intention. But I figured it's really what they call a dopamine detox, right? So I quit social media, Netflix, any kind of series, right? Games, and even music, because I felt I'm just putting a lot of music all the time. I was listening for several hours a day, like going to work, going back from work, cooking, fucking cleaning, taking a shower, all the time, right? All the time. So I realized there is something I'm running away, I'm turning my back from, right? In the silence, there is something hidden in the silence I don't want to face subconsciously, but because I reflected on that, I took it out into my consciousness and I wanted to face it finally. And I thought maybe 2 weeks of dopamine detox would be enough. Okay, so I remember the moment I was looking myself in the mirror, kind of ashamed, kind of like worried, right, about where I am at this moment in my life, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, "Fuck, I know exactly what I need to do." So I sat down, I wrote pretty much the previous episode. I think I'm afraid of the silence, bro. This is where I talk about it. So I wrote down the rules. No Instagram, no social media, no series, movies, no games, and no music, which I think I would say this one was the hardest one, right? Because the music is in the background, right? Instagram sucks you in almost completely, right? You don't think at all, right? But the music is in the background. It's kind of like making you shift your energy through through the music vibrations, right? And to be completely off of it for 2 weeks, it was very, very interesting, man. And I remember I was the most worried about going on my bike to work, which is like an hour drive one way. I was the most worried about it because I was always driving with my music, blasting some really heavy trance or techno or some the Prodigy, some very like heavy music. So I would have the the perfect amount of energy to go. So before I checked my screen time, and it was like around from 5 to 6 hours of screen time, and it doesn't include playing music, right? So it was purely sitting on my phone, and I work for 8 hours, I sleep for 8 hours, so it leaves me like 8 hours, right? Around 8 hours. So it's like, bro, that is a lot. I mean, I do use a phone in my work a lot as well. So, but then it also goes with I would have to add the series as well, right? I go back and I would watch some series. I would wake up and I would watch series to make myself a breakfast, right? Before it was 5 hours 30 average. After it was 2 hours 30 average, but just mind that it includes Google Maps, which I use all the time when I drive, and it's also an hour in traffic when I go to work. So with the car, so I also use Google Maps a lot. So the 2 hours 30 included mostly Messenger, right? So texting, messaging people, and some others like I was checking the email so much, and I was just looking for something in the phone, and I knew I couldn't use the certain apps, right? So I was just going to email, I was going to Messenger, I was checking my cryptocurrency, the market. I was in all the time, like several times a day. I was just trying to find something there, you know. Okay, so what replaced the habits of the screen habits? What replaced it? Okay, first the bad ones, which were kind of trying to find some dopamine, right? Firstly, I was eating more candy, more sweets. I was trying to find my dopamine in there, I think. Secondly, I was masturbating much more often. I just felt like, I was also, I just think also was looking for dopamine in there, right? Then the positive ones, okay, where I wasn't just looking to bring myself some dopamine. I was finally sitting with my thoughts. I confronted the silence. I befriended it, and it turned out it can be a good friend of mine, right? It was really uncomfortable, right? It was really uncomfortable. I had this urge to move from it, to turn my back from it, but turns out there is not much pain. There was some kind of pain, right? Of just kind of being alone, of this fear of being alone for like, of this craving maybe also for a connection. I think that's what's kind of inside of me under this uncomfortableness. I think so. I think this is the main part that I'm just kind of waiting for somebody, for some kind of connection. But I'm patient, bro. I believe it will find me when I'm where it is meant for me to be found. And second of all, writing my thoughts. I have a notebook here that I began to fill in with my thoughts and my ideas for video that I want to talk about. I will not make that. I will not use all of it, probably, right? But I just started to just think more, to reflect more, to analyze very interesting kind of experiences of mine, right? And also just noticing them. Maybe I wouldn't even notice that something interesting happened in my consciousness, in some kind of experience on a workout, right, on my jiu-jitsu classes or something. Like I had few experiences that just became very interesting to me, and I found myself not obsessively thinking about my crush again, but kind of going right, spending my energy for something that's interesting for me, right? For just I started to use that energy to think more on me, not on my fantasies and other people, which was amazing. It felt so good, it really felt amazing. Then it comes to reaching out to friends and family, because I had suddenly so much free time. I started to socialize more. Like I just really didn't want to spend. Maybe that was also kind of an escape from my thoughts, but I cannot be with somebody all the time, right? So I just started to socialize a little bit more. I started to meet people that I wouldn't have meet otherwise. I started proposing, suggesting much more, and also just calling and talking with people, and also just writing and talking through text. And that was really nice, man. That was really nice. I really enjoyed that as well, because it felt natural. It felt like I want to socialize. I want to see what's up with them, right? I want to talk with them about something. I want to share something. That was beautiful, bro. I was beautiful. And the last thing is reading. I had a book that has 1,300 pages, and it's a fifth tome of a fantasy series I read throughout the course of like 2 years, I believe. And it was actually just laying down for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, for a long time. I just haven't touched it, and I got back to it, and it brought me also a lot of joy. So instead of watching series in the morning, I just made my breakfast in silence. Then I sat with it and read a book in the morning. And instead of just watching series while I eat, I started to read the book while I ate them, and it also felt really refreshing. Reading versus watching makes your brain feels very differently afterwards. Not meanwhile, not during the activity, but afterwards. It really makes a difference. Okay, so the 2 weeks ended around 3 weeks ago. It ended, and in the weeks 3 to 4, I noticed that I have this resilience, right? I opened Instagram, but I haven't found this. I haven't had this urge to just scroll so much, right? And that was really pleasant. I like always. Almost felt like a resilience to it. Then after some time, it was at the beginning after the dopamine detox, right? And then afterwards, I noticed that there are two different occasions. I open the social media and I scroll through the IG reels. First thing is boredom, right? So just kind of habit. Like I just go to the toilet, I just lay down and I open it, right? And then I kind of then I would be able to just notice what I'm doing and kind of snap out of it. And and then it's easy to get out of it, right? So when it would be out of boredom, then it wouldn't be a much of a problem for me to get out of it. But when there was some emotional discomfort crawling up again in me, right? Emotional discomfort combined with being tired. That was the biggest combo when I would just kind of get sucked to it and just kind of make myself numb, right? Make myself numb and just, and then it was just almost impossible, like a drug, like a drug, like a narcotic that I just couldn't put it away, and then like 2 hours pass. Then weeks 4 to 5, right? Some more time has passed, and the habit became more and more obvious, more and more seeable. The discomfort, I think, came a little bit more, right? Because maybe it got fuel of IG reels, of this escaping in screen. Maybe that's why it became stronger. I don't know, but in this time, maybe because it's just much more better to talk with her, I started thinking more about my crush again, right? And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's solely because of how we interact with each other at work. And the thing is, when I decided to drop it, right? When I finally asked her directly for a direct answer, because I couldn't get one before, and she said we ain't gonna hang out. I dropped it, right? But at the same time, the pressure got off my shoulders so dramatically, so massively. I just became very cool, like more of myself. I was more stressed, more under the pressure of some kind of expectations, right? Of that maybe something would happen. And but then I finally was like, nothing's gonna happen, and I accept that, and I'm good with it, and I'm happy I got through this experience of really wanting it, of infatuation, right? Of a crush situation. So when I dropped it, I really was relieved, and I think that's when that's when we started to have really good conversations, really good ones, like much better than before. And it almost feel like friendship now, almost. I'm not sure, but it almost feels like that. And then yeah, in 1 week, she would just look at me and smile at me, so in a way that just stays in my head. Okay, that just stays in my head. So in that time, in the weeks 4 and 5, I found myself that I think that I just connected this discomfort with this craving of intimacy, of a connection, of a true one, and just for love, bro. And what was interesting, because I could just get really depressed about it, that it just came back again. But I noticed that something was different then, bro. I noticed that something was different in me, and the difference was that I was not getting lost with it, in it, right? I was. What would be the biggest symptom of my crush, of me having this kind of romantic obsession which I had before? I would think all the time about it, and fantasize about what I'm gonna, like, about our future, about our wedding, about our kids, but also about just the tomorrow day, right? The tomorrow day at work, about what we're gonna talk about. And maybe I would like bring some fucking sweets and just and share with her, and I would just think about it all the time, right? I would just think about it all the time. And now I just found that some of these thoughts started coming back, right? These fantasies, right? For example, I would be driving on a bike and listening to some techno music, right? And then I create this fantasy of we with my friends organize an underground rave, right? And it's illegal and it's so underground and it's so cool. And I'm just driving on a bike like, oh, bro, this is so fire. And then, of course, she has to crawl into the fantasy, and because comes to this fantasy, it makes it 10 times more interesting to me, right? Of me kind of introducing her into this kind of world, because she's completely not into it, and kind of showing her how cool it can be. Um, what I was talking about. And the difference is that I felt powerless before. Now I feel different. I have a power. I have the ability to cut it, to slow it down, to not get sucked into it again, right? To not get I'm able to cut it, right? To not get lost in it. I was checking my notes, what I wrote down about it, right? And I just like this part, so I forgot about it. So I'm gonna read it out to you now. So I'm managing to cut the fantasies, to don't give them as much energy to fuel them, so it turns into an obsession again. Okay, so I feel like that this is what I fear, being obsessed again. But I think because I fear about it, it's more impossible to get also to make it happen again, right? Because yeah, because I'm actively working on stopping it. Fuck. It still takes energy, bro. It still takes energy, but it's different, right? But it's different. Yeah, just trust me. All right, here. I think the detox has genuinely helped me change. Even though I consume series and IG reels, I find time to properly regulate, to socialize, to listen to valuable podcasts and lectures that make me think, okay? That make me think and that help me navigate better in what I'm currently going through, okay? That's also a win for me, because yeah, sure. After finishing the dopamine detox, I kind of went back to my old habits again a little bit, not full time, a little bit, right? But what I gained through the dopamine detox, so the activities that I started to do instead of screens, they stayed with me, bro. They stayed with me, and I'm just trying, then now it's just a game. I just have to kind of force myself to give my energy to make this video and not to sit back on the couch and watch a movie. Okay? I feel like I know why I crave love. I feel like I know why that crush of mine makes me feel this much for her, why she makes me produce these specific neurotransmitters in my brain that sometimes make me lose myself in the conversation with her, that makes me feel those fucking butterflies. And we work in the kindergarten, if you don't know. We work in the kindergarten again, and it's kind of dangerous, bro, because I'm there sitting up next to her and talking with her, and we have fucking kids to take care about, right? To take care, and I just sometimes I find myself not fucking seeing them at all, not caring about them at all. So an example of kind of shifting my energy from her to something else that I care about would be to just get out, stand up from the desk or a bench if we are outside, and kind of play with the kids, right? Or just talk with them to use my energy on something else. I feel like I understand why I feel like I understand why I feel about her that way. I feel like I understand why this relationship would rather not work. And then, with that, I try to stop the fucking analyzing, okay? I made a theory in my head that aligns with me. Yeah, hear me out. And then I get out of my head, bro. I don't stay in it so much no more. Being more here and now, and when I was writing this, I was like, be more here and now, and that's where the real love is, bro. I feel like it's definitely not in my fucking imagination, but I think it's also not in the future or in the past, okay? Because these are just concepts. Past has already happened, future haven't happened yet, okay? No, it will never happen like in the future because it's always in the future. Future is future. Future is not present. It is here. The love, I mean. It is here, bro. And now, if you let it yourself open for it, right? So this is what I'm trying to do. Whenever I just feel more mindful and just kind of regulated to be here and now and find the love and the gratitude in the present moment, bro. Hell yeah. Okay, so in the end, what did I get out of it, right? Because I think you already saw a few examples, but then also the initial intention, the fear of silence, I feel like it's almost gone, right? The fear of silence of being alone. I feel like it's almost gone. And when I can't say it's gone completely, it's uncomparable to what it was before. And this experience proves me once again that anxiety fear has a huge mouth. And is really confident in making you scared of things that are completely manageable, bro. I can't say there wasn't discomfort because there was plenty, but once I accepted it and the emotions that I was turning my back from, once I surrendered, bro, once I surrendered to them, it wasn't long that they just simply left me. And I was just left with this open space. It's pretty much it, bro. The anxiety, the fear makes you fear things. And I think like they are the majority of the space then in your head, right? In your consciousness. And when you allow the thing that there's a fear you had the fear about, when you allow the thing to just happen to come into your consciousness, then the fear just disappears. And it turns out you were worried about a thing not really so scary. Yes! Bro. So I loved it. I probably will do it again. It made me more aware. It made me more aware. I definitely recommend it to people that are interested in it. Um, and yeah, bro, let me know your experiences. Okay, I would love to hear them out. I would love to hear them out and reflect on them as well. Take good care of yourselves. Love yourself, and peace out.